I'm John Costello. I'm a field target shooter. I've been doing it for 11 years.
Steve Tribb, been out of sport for a little while, just come back in.
My name is Raywin, I'm from New Zealand.
My name's Harold Rushton, I'm from the United States.
Dorian Faulkner, everyone calls me Dawes.
Neil Rogers, from England.
Conor McFlynn here, I'm the Irish pump master.
My name is Ralph, I come from Germany.
My name is André Sluiter, I'm from Holland.
Greg Sylvie, I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin, USA.
Mark Bassett, I've been shooting about 8 months less than you, so nearly 23 years.
My name is Donovan Taylor. I live in South Florida, USA.
My name's Andy Case. I'm the current WFTF president.
I'm Frans Vertooy, I'm from South Africa.
My name is Rob Sluks. I'm from the Netherlands.
I'm Jack from South Wales and I've won a few raffles.
Ron Carlson here from the USA.
I'm John. I'm also from the Netherlands, 36 years old.
Scott Robinson from England.
I'm Nicole Larson, and we're both from Canada.
Yeah, I'm Ryan Hazel.
So my name is Ana Pereira. I come from Portugal.
My name is Bert, I'm also from the Netherlands.
My name is Andrea Tapini, I'm from Italy.
Field target is a highly specialised form of airgun sport, which can be likened in some ways to motorsport's Formula One. Although participation is relatively small in comparison to the millions of airguns sold each year across the globe, it is considered by many to be the pinnacle of field airgun shooting. Competitors use a precision air rifle to fire a small lead pellet at the kill zone of a silhouette target between 8 and 55 yards away. By hitting the kill zone, which is usually between 12 and 45 millimeters in diameter, the silhouette falls and the shooter gains a point. However, if it doesn't drop, you don't get the point. Courses range from as little as 20 targets for smaller regional competitions up to 150 targets over 3 days for the World Championships. The competitor with the most points after the course is completed is the winner. Simple as that. Or is it? Most of the world's field target associations limit the muzzle energy of the rifles used to just 12 foot-pounds, which is approximately 16 joules. This makes the projectiles, which are small lead pellets, highly susceptible to wind, rain and other atmospheric changes, all of which try to divert the path of your pellet from its original point of aim. The very best field target marksmen are able to accurately judge these variables and make the appropriate adjustments to their point of aim. The most critical measurement on the course is range. Field target competitors use sophisticated high magnification telescopic sights to accurately judge the distance to the target. At high magnification, each competitor works out the various distances that the targets appear in focus and use this to dial in the range to their scoped turrets. 1 yard out and the pellet could fall short or strike too high. But field target is not only a highly technical sport, it's also a battle of nerves and mental fortitude.
The very early courses, I believe, were on paper targets, and then they realised that that was very difficult to control because paper got wet and people had to go and change the targets. They then developed a steel plate that you could reset with a string. So the courses changed and the distances changed. The accuracy improved on the rifles, and as I say, in the early days, we used to think of 30-yard or 35-yard targets as being long range. Now the sport has got to the point where we're shooting at 50 metres or 55 yards and still getting the same accuracy.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that's changed, and despite what some of the old timers will tell you, the courses then were a sight easier than the ones these boys are shooting these days. But they had to be, because our gear wasn't anything like as sophisticated. We were using 9 mag scopes and we were bracketing the kills. Until a mad guy called Barry McCraw, who was and is a genius, came along with what we thought was massive at the time, an 18 mag scope, and he started focusing on targets to deduce a range.
The pellets are better, the barrels are superb, the rifles are so good now, they're comparable with top of the range bench rest equipment, whether that's 2.2 rimfire or centerfire. Not at those distances, but you know, in terms of group sizes at 50 metres, an air rifle is as good as anything.
We were using 9 mag to do it, and sometimes 7, and spring guns. And as the guns have become more sophisticated and the hardware has, then the courses have become harder and harder. And I'm sure if we'd have been in at the start of this new era, we'd be all right at it. Don't think that there's no Superman about. But the courses today are way harder, and it's far more. It's slicker. It's better run. It's more formalised. We used to sort of wing and a prayer it a bit but they don't now because it's a proper sport.
Field target began in the UK in the early 1980s as a revolutionary new target sport, which attempted to closely replicate airgun hunting scenarios and conditions in the field. Initially, simple steel silhouettes were used, with small adhesive targets attached as a kill zone. Over time, more sophisticated falling plate targets were developed, which are now the standard across the sport. As the sport began to grow, a small collection of field target groups sprung up across the country as people gathered together to test their mettle against one another, as well as the elements. The sport soon swept across the pond to the United States, and the first ever Field Target World Championships took place between the UK and USA in 1991. English field target legend Nick Jenkinson was crowned the inaugural world champion after scoring 143 from a possible 150 points.
I first picked a rifle up when I was about 9-10 years old, just shot in the back garden, and then put it away for a long time. But then when I was in my early 20s, a friend said there was an air rifle club starting up near where I lived, and we decided to go and investigate. And when I got down there, it was a field target club. Nobody knew very much about the sport in those days. We thought a long range target was at 32, 33 yards, and we didn't have a clue whether to shoot 177, 22. We'd never even heard of pre-charged rifles. So, but in those early days, it was, you could tune your own rifle and you could modify things and try and elevate your performance by using innovations that you came up with, and that's where it all started for me.
In the old days, the furthest back I can remember at a World Championship was 1992 in Ferrum in Hampshire. The whole setup was totally different. There were side shoots. Now, over the years, obviously there's become more and more involvement from other countries. Obviously the whole setup, the organisation, the shoot format has changed to accommodate more people.
In the early days there was only two countries, and that was England and the USA, and then in 1999 Norway came in, and then we had to start getting rules put down on paper, because before that we just shot like we shot at home, and we were there to determine who shot the best and not to follow all of the rules exactly, you know. So we're getting more rule-oriented. I'd say over the last 10-12 years we're really seeing a lot of new things.
Today the sport is spread across the globe, with 32 member countries making up the World Field Target Federation, with competitors from each taking part in the annual World Championships. Competitors will shoot 150 targets over 3 days. Each day offers a different course, with 25 lanes offering 2 targets per lane and a variety of challenging conditions. This year sees the biggest ever World Championships to date, with 300 of the world's elite field target marksmen and women challenging for the prestigious title of World Champion. One of those is former World Junior Champion and 2009 World Champion runner-up, John Costello.
Field target started for me when I was a kid. I was 11, I started with an Air Arms S200, really good gun at the time. From that I did my first winter league in the following winter, because I started in the summer. Progressed my way through the ranks, won some big competitions. I started winning through my grades, so winning A grade, then after Classic. Then went on to come second in the world, joint first. I ended up getting beaten in a shoot-off, unfortunately. But also went on to win. I've won the Grand Prix series in the UK twice now. Won the British Master, British Champion. I've also done an after Classic. That was back in 2010, and I've just come back from Spain a few months ago, where I went and put in won the Spanish Open, which was really cool. It was the first time that anyone ever cleared a course in Spain, so doing that was, you know, it was nice not just for me, but for the guys out there to see it as well.
John is a popular shooter on the World Field Target circuit and has a very impressive list of achievements, and he's still only 22 years of age. After a 4th place finish at last year's World Championships in Norway, John is looking to take the next step in his career by taking the 2013 World Crown.
I shot the World Championships, as I say, I came second out in 2009. I've then done an 8th in Hungary, which is 2010, and last year I came 4th, so what I'm looking to do is go off to Germany and better that this year.
There are 2 vital ingredients to every shooter's success: their equipment and their shooting positions. Field target shooters are notorious for tinkering and modifying their kit, to achieve every advantage they can, however minute. With the margins between success and failure being so small, every minuscule adjustment can help. Modern field target air rifles all provide fairly equal levels of performance. However, as the shooters and their needs differ, each person has their own rifle set up and customized to their own requirements.
I'm going to run you through my rig that I use for World Field Target, how it's set up and why I use it. This is a Steyr LG100 field target rifle. It's set up at a maximum of 12 foot-pounds of energy. This rifle I've set up with a Anschutz butt hook. This particular butt hook is adaptable to a lot of different rifles. I've got it on the Steyr now.
It is pretty much the last part of it that's actually AV2 is the actual block itself. A friend of mine, Nick Murphy in the Midlands, he customised the gun for me. His regulators in there, an aluminium cylinder so it lightens the gun a little bit, just to bring the balance in a bit more suitable for myself.
I try to set up all of my rifles with some similar features that I really like. One of those features is an adjustable knee riser on the front, or hamster as it's called in Europe. It has a pressure fitting that I can release on the side to allow me to raise it up or raise it or lower it down.
Steve Landman stock that I designed. March scope, System Gemini butt hook, another HPS which is the same company as System Gemini hand stop. Titanium muzzle that I had made in the company that I work for.
This particular rifle also has a air stripper on the end, fitted to the end of the barrel. This particular air stripper, what it does is as the pellet goes through it, it allows the air to escape around the sides of the pellet and kind of dissipates the air out and keeps from disturbing the pellet as it goes out the end of the bore.
March scopes, actual mounts.
And a John Harris sidewheel.
John Harris sidewheel and John Harris spirit level.
So other than the block, everything else is completely customised?
Yeah.
The main shooting category and the hottest contended championship in field target is the Open PCP, where the world's elite shoot highly sophisticated, high-precision, pre-charged pneumatic air rifles.
Okay, so the kit consists of, we've got a new sighter on here, the 1050x60, with the John Harris side wheel. Works really well, really smooth side wheel. We've got loophole quick release mounts. It just means whenever I go travelling I can take my scope and hand luggage, because you all know what baggage handles are like. I can keep that separate, just make sure it gets there in one piece. I've also got a Steyr barley twist barrel off one of my older guns, just it's a little bit better with, you don't have to clean it as much, which for me is great because I'm not the type of guy who loves to clean things. We've got the woodwork. This is all from Cobra Custom Stocks. We've got the pistol grip, the cheek piece, and the forend. Forend's been made a bit longer, just so for uphill and downhill shots you get a bit better traction on the gun. My preference, I prefer this to the older just because the cylinder and your chassis is a bit longer, it puts a bit more weight towards the front of the gun. So this has been done, kind of pimped out by Hydrographics in York. We picked the Realtree AP Snow design. I think it looks really nice with it being white as well. It might reflect a little bit more of the heat, which is why I don't think we had much shift or anything on the scope out in Spain. And the rest's all been painted by Hydrographics as well. He's done it in a nice candy orange. Some say it's a little bit camp. I like it, but yeah, he's painted all that out for us, and it's, I think it looks pretty cool.
A shooter's equipment extends far beyond the technology in their hands, as each of them looks to those extra advantages to give them the edge.
But there are a few other things that I use just to help get results. So first thing, Anschutz shooting jacket. This gives us a lot of support in my positions just by doing the top button up. When I'm standing, I'll do all of them just so it really hugs my body. Gives us a bit of back support, because when you've got the longer shoots, your back does start to ache a bit. Also, because it's made out of a strong canvas, the gun always sits in the same position in your shoulder, which is really, really helpful. Other thing, we've got custom and target mitt. This just really, when you're sitting, takes a bit of the pulse out of your hand. For me, it just means you're going to be a little bit more accurate on the longer targets, and especially when you're shooting the mini kills as well, because when you're shooting down to a 15mm kill, every little bit makes a difference. We've also got a pellet pouch as well. Just means you've not got tins of pellets laid about when you're shooting as well, which makes things a little bit easier to access.
A championship field target course usually comprises 25 lanes, each containing 2 targets that must be shot in the correct numerical order.
At the minute it's 3 minutes per lane. Your time starts when you address the lane. So if it's standing, if you're going to shoot standing, as soon as you get to the lane, start the time. Shoot the targets left to right or in number order. and the positions have now been sort of solidified a bit more.
You'll have designated standing lanes, kneeling lanes, and sort of freestyle, do what you like. We've got restricted kills these days that we didn't have too many of when I was doing it. They'll be outside, no two targets are the same. You've got the biggest enemy these days is the wind and then nerves. The range finding is pretty much sorted, I would say. The guns are sorted. So it's windage and competition nerves, I think they're up against more than anything.
With shooters coming in all shapes and sizes, each competitor also has their own variation on the 3 different positions of field target. Most prefer sitting.
Of the 3 positions in field target, I always favor the seated position. It's just more stable. It's just more suited to me, and of course I knock down more targets that way.
The favourite, of course, is sitting because it's the easiest.
My favorite position, probably after field target, this one. No, actually, my favorite position, probably sitting, obviously, but I feel my kneeling is pretty strong. I feel kneeling almost as strong as sitting if I got a nice level surface.
However, some do prefer the challenge presented by a kneeling or standing shot, which often make the difference between winning and losing.
I like standing sometimes because it's more of a challenge, and then when you get a knockdown it's a lot more rewarding.
I enjoy kneeling. It's very comfortable for me and it is more challenging than sitting, so I enjoy that one.
My favourite shooting position will be standing.
Why?
Because in the last sort of 6 months I put a lot of work into it, and whereas it phases a lot of people, I feel a lot stronger with it now.
Kneeling, as most blokes like to see me down on the floor.
I like standing myself.
Yeah, I think kneeling. Most of your points you make up in positionals, and kneeling is my strong point, so I'd say kneeling.
69. That's a meal for 2.
For me, it's kneeling.
Standing.
Yeah, standing, I love
And
it.
he can't stand or kneel, so it's got to be sitting for Steve.
Field target can also afflict competitors with what appears to be some form of obsessive-compulsive disorder. The majority of field target shooters have a routine they follow, time after time after time.
Well, the whole process for me is very important. Like I'll sit down, I'll try my very best to do everything exactly the same every time. So I'll range find in the same way, read the wind in the same way, and just try and keep into a rhythm. Because I think as soon as you break it and you start worrying and doubting yourself, that's when you start to miss, because you start making daft decisions. It's just if you can get yourself into the rhythm and just really focus on every little part of your process of shooting, that's when you're going to start getting the results. So I suppose the main thing I think about when I'm shooting is just getting everything, all the little things right. Because if I do every little thing that I do correctly, then if I miss, then I've just made a bad judgment call on wind. If I miss out and do the process incorrectly, then I haven't got a chance.
1999 world champion Andy Calpin blows on his pellet before loading it. And with 1 world championship, 5 runner-ups, 4 third places, a 4th, 2 5ths, a 6th, a 7th, 2 8ths and a 10th place finish to his name at the Worlds, maybe there's something to be said about routine. Others just prefer to block out the rest of the world and concentrate on the target in front of them.
The process I go through, because I've got a couple of extra gadgets such as a spirit level, a windicator, I got butler creek covers on the front of the scope. The system I go through is robotic in the end. You do get to the stage where it is the same all the time. I'll put the windicator first, spirit level, I'll then flip the actual butler creek up, and then I'll cock the rifle, load the pellet, put it in. For instance, if the tree down there is my target, I'll then start range finding the actual tree. See how far it is for me, which is 38 yards. What I'll do again then is just check it again just to make sure. Again, 38 yards. What I would then do is dial for that distance, which I know is -4 ticks from 0 within the scope. Look at the wind, see where it's coming from. I'm looking at my windicator now, it's showing me that it's left to right. It's not very heavy, it's quite a light wind. If it was a 40mm kill, which is our largest size kill zone that we have on targets, I would look at that and say, well, the wind is going to take me around 10-15mm. Now the kill zone itself is 40mm wide, so I know then if I stay inside left edge, because it is showing me left or right, that I would stay within that kill zone area. So that would be my shot then for that particular target. Then I'd look through the scope, see what I'm looking at, pick my point, and take my shot.
Some people just like to wear a smart hat.
Tomorrow we're off to Germany. We follow it step by step, see how we're getting on, and see if I can put all this into practice. No pressure.
Thanks for watching part 1 of our 7-part week-long special about Field Target and the 2013 World Field Target Federation World Championships. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for part 2 as we follow John Costello on his journey across Europe. We also look in more detail at the rules of Field Target, last year's competition, and who's in the running for this year's World Championship.